gospel in a uniquely different way. Thanks, Alex.
Woo! Woo!
Hello, is that working? Great. My name's Simon Camilleri. I'm an actor and a storyteller. I studied theatre at La Trobe, for that one person at the back there. I met Jesus about 30 years ago and have been following him ever since and loving it. And if you're investigating Jesus and thinking about what it means to meet him and follow him, I encourage you, the best place to investigate that is to read the stories about him in the Gospels, in the Bible. And so I am going to do that tonight. I'm going to share a story about a man named Lazarus from John chapter 11. And I've been asked not to read it, but to actually commit it to memory and perform it fully. And then after that, Richard's going to help us unpack it. So please enjoy. This is John chapter 11, verses 1 to 45. Now, a man named Lazarus was sick. He was from Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. Now, Mary, whose brother Lazarus now lay sick, was the same one who poured perfume on the Lord Jesus and wiped his feet with her hair. And so the sisters, they sent word to Jesus, "Lord, the one you love is sick." Now, when Jesus heard this, he said, "This sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it." Now, Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. And so when he heard that Lazarus was sick, he stayed where he was 2 more days. And then he said to his disciples, "Let us go back to Judea." "But Rabbi," they said, "a short time ago the Jews there tried to stone you, and now you want to go back?" Jesus said to them, "Are there not 12 hours of daylight? Anyone who walks in the daytime will not stumble, for they will see by this world's light. It's those who walk at night who stumble, for they have no light. Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, and I'm going there to wake him up." His disciples replied, "Well, if he sleeps, then he'll get better." Jesus was referring to his death, but the disciples thought he meant natural sleep. And so Jesus told them plainly, "Lazarus is dead. And for your sake, I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe. But let us go to him." Then Thomas, also known as Didymus, said to the other disciples, "Let us also go, so that we may die with him." And so they went, and when they arrived, Jesus found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. Now, Bethany was 2 miles, less than 2 miles from Jerusalem, and many of Many of the Jews came to Martha and Mary to comfort them in the loss of their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went out to him, but Mary stayed at home. Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that anything you ask, God will give you. And Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. And she answered, I know he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day. And Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? Yes, Lord, she replied. I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who is to come into the world. Now, after Martha had said this, she went back and called her sister Mary aside. The teacher is here and he's asking for you. Now, when Mary heard this, she got up quickly and went out to him. And Jesus had not yet entered the village, but was still at the place where Martha had met him. When the Jews who had been with Mary in the house comforting her saw how quickly she got up and went out, they followed her, supposing that she was going to the tomb to mourn there. When Mary reached the place where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet. And said, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews with her also weeping, he was deeply moved in spirit and troubled. Where have you laid him? He asked. They said, come and see, Lord. Jesus wept. And the Jews said, see how he loved him. But some of them said, oh, could not he, who opened the eyes of the blind man, have kept this man from dying? And Jesus, again deeply moved, came to the tomb. It was a cave with a stone laid across the entrance. Take the stone away, Jesus said.
Martha, the sister of the dead man, said to Jesus, Lord, at this time there is a bad odor, for he has been there for 4 days. Jesus said to her, Did I not say that if you believe, you will see the glory of God? And so they took away the stone. And then Jesus looked up and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I know that you always hear me. But I said this for the benefit of those standing here, that they may believe that you have sent me. And then, after he had said this, Jesus called out in a loud voice, Lazarus, come out! The dead man came out. His hands and his feet were wrapped in strips of linen with a cloth around his face. And Jesus said, remove his grave clothes and let him go. And therefore, many of the Jews who had come to visit Mary had seen what Jesus did, believed in him.